not my fault. I'm not a lawyer. We're not debt recovery agency. It's your choice.
The problem isn't that you didn't get your $8,000 feedback out of the missed revenue that you identified. The problem is that you had $8,000 worth of revenue that you've missed out on because of your processes.
Yeah.
They're big difference, right? Welcome back to another episode of Rectalk, UK's #1 recruitment podcast by a metric now. We are officially the largest recruitment podcast channel on YouTube and Spotify. So thank you very much for those who listen week after week and give us your time and energy and asking questions and engaging with the guests that come on. It's been really, really useful. I'm your host, Nitin Sharma, the founder of Rectalk.io, the UK's, the world's only online directory of recruitment supply chain that's accessible for free with unbiased reviews and product demos and rec perks that you can access and discounts and rewards and a whole host of different things. Get onto Rectalk.io if you'd like to find out more. So you're probably listening to this podcast because you're in recruitment. The likelihood is you are a recruiter, and if you are a recruiter, you've been through the unfortunate circumstance that happens to us all, which is some sort of backdoor, some sort of revenue that you've missed out. You did all the work. You did it all. You found the candidate, you've spec'd them in, you sent the CV, you sent the terms, you maybe prepped them for the interview, and then for whatever reason, you went on holiday, you lost track, things got busy, something happened, and behind your back, that candidate ended up being placed. Might have happened during that process, might have happened a month, 2 months, 6 months down the line. It happens to us all. It's a bane in the life of recruiters. And my guest today is here to talk about kind of pulling that apart and, more importantly, the reasons as to why this happens. So brings me a lot of pleasure to invite David Clark, the founder of Bobcheck, to Rectalk today, mate. Thank you so much for making the journey on. Appreciate you giving us your time. Let's start there. Right, backdoors happen all the time. Why?
Recruitment's a positive, forward-looking job, right? So Friday afternoon, you get 5 jobs in, work on them next week, or you work on them that evening, get CVs out. You are not going to go back 9 months and work out, I sent 20 CVs out that month. What's happened to them? You should speak to your candidates constantly, keep an update, but you don't. You don't necessarily. If you're working more of a vertical sector and not tech specific, then you might be jumping around. I was a specialist in Cisco networking, IP telecoms, all that stuff. So I had a pretty good grasp of my network, and it happened to me. So the story is, my old COO used to make us do a Bob's Day. So maybe, I didn't realise at the time, maybe at the end of the quarter, end of the half, he's up against it. So you download your Excel we used Bullhorn at the time, and you go through systematically where they went. But we've sent out hundreds of candidates. It takes days. So typically it happened to me, and then there's the argument of, oh gosh, am I going to get told off? Am I going to go straight back on candidate training, client management training, and then you're perceived to not have a grasp on your network? Or, well done, Clarky, you just made us 10, 20 grand. He's found 2, he's found 3. So there's our call to say. So
that's a cultural piece, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It depends on the culture of the business as to which one of those buckets you're going to fall into. Yeah.
Most of the time it's well done. Let's investigate and understand why. So you're not necessarily too scared. But fast forward years and years later, lockdown 3, so that's January to March 21. I just had a flashback, and then I thought, what piece of kit's out there to automate that? I looked on all the marketplaces, I looked out there, and there wasn't necessarily anything automated. There's companies where you can just upload a CSV and they take a cut of anything found. But so I spoke to some business partners that I wanted on my journey, and everyone said, yes, that's great, and have you thought about this? So we spent a year developing, year building, and we launched Feb 22. In that time, we've tracked around about 1.5 million in missed fees found.
Amazing.
So that's fees found. Doesn't necessarily mean paid out. And this is the first part where I built it to get agencies additional net fee income, new revenue that they've not seen or is not on their books. And I think what we're mainly going to talk about today is like why it's happened, what you can do to protect your revenue, and the indirect element.
Because that almost became the sort of positive byproduct of you building this, right? Because actually, from a former business owner's perspective, it's great that, I found an extra 20 grand worth of fees, but I'm more interested in how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
You know, how did this happen? How do we let this happen? And how do I amend my processes to make sure I don't happen again?
If that 20 grand's at your top client, and if you go to a law firm or send them a letter, then that's it. That's that relationship stopped. So sometimes you think, I'm not going to ruffle those feathers, purely because that will write it off. And then, Nitin, why did that candidate you send in January 24 end up joining them in May 24? What was that? And so the first indirect learning really that we've highlighted is what internal processes and procedures has your agency got defined as a rule book that every CV you send, if you haven't got master framework, has a terms of business attached.
Yes.
Now, how tight is that? Well, it depends how legal you want to go. But the process of sending out the CV is changing via technology, via Audrey's got something, Ara's got something. It's really simple now. Where back in my day, if you want to get old black and white, it's pretty hard. You've got to do your cover sheet, do your notes, send it on Outlook.
Very, very manual.
Really manual.
And so one could argue it was almost instilled to us to always attach terms of business, but then equally others would argue, well, actually, because there was so much to do, it was very easy to forget to attach those same terms of business.
If you've got, so at the moment we're speaking to a 500 person agency, and they strategically are looking to reduce their headcount by 150 worldwide, America and South Africa, whatever. So their use case is, well, if we know we're going to choose to reduce headcount by 150, then those 150 recruiters over the last year will have sent out about 40,000 candidates. So we still make claim on that.
Yeah.
So we will still have an entity in, say, Austin or LA or wherever it might be. So the use case for them is we're going to track all the CVs that they've sent out, and we're going to get rid of the reduced headcount, let's say.
Yeah.
It's not for the current staff, it's for the ones that have gone. And with that, that's sometimes more powerful.
Yeah, because churn happens anyway, right?
It does.
Quite a bit in the recruitment industry. So actually, that's a massive use case.
We'll load up the candidates automatically by API like you'd expect, but we'll check every single month for the next year if your candidates go behind our back, Bob, right? So whatever happens in January 24, we'll still be checking in December 24, and you might have lost 5 or 10 recruiters. That's really powerful. Who's going to do that within your business as a manual job? Tedious, time consuming.
But even then, things will get missed.
Yeah.
So, all right. But okay. So, what's the general trend? Why does this happen then? Because you could say, oh no, everyone's always trying to make a quick buck and not save on recruitment fees and stuff. Yeah. But is that the case, or is it that actually sometimes things are forgotten about, and because as much as we rely on process, and as recruiters we go out of process, we don't put everything on our CRMs. We expect for some reason HR, talent acquisition, and line managers to always operate within their process on their side, which isn't always the case either.
So there's two answers to that. The first Bob we ever found, we interviewed the internal sponsor, our client, about why it happened, and it was a senior consultant, top biller, but they had to submit their CVs, let's say I just Wipro, Brass Ring, client side.
Yeah.
They sent 2 in, they registered one, then forgot to do the other because they were getting an updated CV or something like that. Another agency put their name on that candidate, and that was it. It was golden. So even though they're represented and sent through, so there's basic process one. And the other part that we always get asked about is, do you track speculative CVs or CVs to jobs with current clients? Now, we can track both, but the possibility of you getting a fee, the actual money in of a speculative CV, here's our terms attached, and they stand, is, well, we speak to a lawyer about that and they might say otherwise. There's the reason it happens is, it's about 10 main reasons, but the first one is the recruiter's left and no one's following up.
Right.
And it was not a master framework agency style agreement. It was, well, he's agreed for the new company down the road, here's some CVs he's got.
Yeah.
So I know two for a very good client of ours, that is literally the reason why that happened. If you have 5 recruiters leave and they've been sending out all these CVs, the main thing you're going to do is hook up the email to the boss, the manager, and then forward on their mobile or the telephone line. You're not going to think, okay, we're in September, it's been dead since July and August because everyone's been on holiday. Let's just go back to January and check all the CVs that they've been sending out. You just not.
No.
That's what I said. It's the forward, positive-looking job. The main other one is not using the system properly, and that's that system adoption piece that, and the indirect reason. So we've got a number who have been sent out. They were interviewed,
right?
They were processed through the client, but they weren't using the platform. So when they did leave, you could just download their activity and just check the interviews. Maybe 50,
top draw,
basic,
outside of the CRM,
basic. So the indirect learning for us is, are you going to have an internal sponsor / tech person to ensure that your fields are essential, that you have to put this field in to send that CV, and who's going to follow up with the investigations? I could flag them. We flagged so many. So at the moment we're tracking one CV send in 2000 is a misfeed. So if 40-person agency.
So how enforceable is something like that? Like, is there a time limit on these things? Is there...
Again, great question. So we track, standard is 12-month tracking.
Yeah.
Because of candidate representation, not ownership. People don't like that word. If you've got 6 months as a standard in your contract, track for 12. So one of the reasons I set up Bob is I got into a competitor of the main tech platform, Cisco, and they said, yeah, send loads of CVs in. This is great. Week later, budget's gone. Can't rely on that. Month 7, all these contractors calling me going, oh no, I just got a call from XYZ. And they were just sandbagging. So you want to find out your bad customers, and you want to find out who.
So as to qualify them out, just your process, not on one of these.
No chance. You got these really hungry recruiters sending in loads of CVs, working really hard just to populate their own ATS internally. Really bad. That's another reason we set up Bob. But 1 in 2000, if you've got 40-person agency, back of the fag packet, sending 5 CVs a week, that's roughly 10,000 a year CVs out.
Yeah.
I pretty much put my heart on the line and say we'll find you about 5 or 6. It's then up to you. What do you do?
And I suppose that's a then case by case, isn't it? Because then it's okay, is it the responsibility sat with us as an agency to make sure we followed up and put terms attached, and we didn't do those certain things, and so this happened, or we didn't keep in touch with the candidate, or actually is it that no, this client seems to have acted in such a way that they intentionally were planning to do this, or another agency's been passed this candidate's ownership rights because, representation rights. I do learn. But that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. And then it's a case by case. So it's not so Bobcheck's not an automation kind of like, hey, here's 10 grand worth of fees that we found and we fired out debt collection letters to these guys. It's an awareness tool. It's one of the analysis piece.
Yeah, it was one of the first conversations we had of what extra services can we offer.
Yeah.
But most people have got representation by a legal firm, or they want to own it themselves.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to have all your client details and your hiring manager. We're going to flag to you that the event's happened. You go and internally investigate. And there might be an email received that they said, "Oh, sorry, we've already got this candidate."
Mhm.
That's annoying, but there's good learning for CRM usage. It is frustrating that someone's beating you to it. Or we had one actually that they sent the CV, just say 1st of January, and then the 19th of January, "Oh, we already know this candidate." I was like, "All right, hang on. Did you go direct to LinkedIn? Do you think that's a good candidate? Did you message him or forward that CV to recruitment?" And then, so you can always try and understand what's happened. But there's reasons why they happened, and there's things you can do to investigate. And one of our clients ran through 2 years worth of data, old data, when they joined up on the API. And they found that post-COVID, obviously massive boom, and they signed up to a bank. And I've had this via 2 different companies now. They signed up, they were so keen for the client, it was a big bank brand name, really needed it. They realised it was 2-month representation for that specific job. So you sent them through for a developer.
Yeah.
Great. Do you know what? We're going to give them a senior developer. Right. And then that's then different job,
different vacancy,
yeah. Or offer them in month 2.5 because the process has taken so long. So there's lots of reasons why it could happen. And the biggest learning for us is say, well, Mr. Client, we've identified 7. So we have a call, maybe 3 weeks later. What happened for my internal tracking? And one candidate was sent to the manager of, I don't know, just say BT UK, hired in BT France or Germany or whatever, but they had a country specific no compete or exclusivity. So then that customer is now looking at every single client contract to understand how bad they are, how good they are, and that is the biggest indirect learning. Because they think we're doing great, CVs out the door, making money, but actually they've got so much slippage. You would not let your car dealership test drive, let out 50 cars, and you're going to get 49 back. You're going to know, right? And that is exactly it.
It's an interesting. You said a couple of things there. I think that are really, really key, right? Because we are by and large good recruiters who went off and set up recruitment agencies. We're not legal experts. We're not finance experts. We're not marketing experts. Do you know what I mean? We're good at what we do, which is recruit, and that holds true because I've been victim to this where we signed up terms. I mean, as an agency that was our size, right, Coventry based. 10 heads, that kind of thing. We were working with Cadent Gas, National Grid, Eon Next, Eon Energy. We were working with Jacobs Engineering. We were working with PwC, Deloitte, and everyone else. I couldn't tell you whether or not those terms of business have got those specific pieces in there. And I can probably almost guarantee that we've missed revenue within kind of a legal issue. You know what I mean? Actually, you represented this candidate for this requisition with this reference number. We didn't offer them that job. We offered them this one. And so, it does then give you that information is so valuable because as a business owner, you can then make a call and go, right, A, am I going to work to these terms of business or not? And B, are we going to either counter propose or do we just walk away?
Yeah.
Which is a tough thing to do when you've got all these big brand names in front of you that you want to be able to be like, oh, hey, Mr. Client, Mr. Candidate, Mrs. Candidate, we work with these people. Well, actually, do you really want to be working with businesses that their terms of business are almost stacked in such a way that they're able to do these things to you should they wish to?
So we don't take a fee of the found revenue. It's a subscription, just monthly model. We just come and go. But where the customer might not go after the fee, negotiate a retainer for the next fees. Go out for lunch and discuss exclusivity. Because the last thing you really want to do is go legal.
The value isn't in collecting that money. No, the value is in changing. See, I do a bit of mentoring work, right, for sort of small startups in the Midlands area. And one of them recently had a call with me and he was like, look, we did everything right. We sent our terms with the candidate, blah, blah, blah. they're now saying to us, oh, you weren't onboarded in time, and we received this candidate from another agency who is already onboarded, so the fee belongs to them. And he was like, what do I do? And I was like, look, I'll have that conversation. As your kind of like business mentor and Ned that we're kind of drawing paperwork up for now, I'll have that conversation. I'll jump onto the call with HR. But I was like, my gut tells me that this isn't something that's happened as a one-off. This is something that this business do repeatedly, because this is a way that this talent acquisition team or this HR team have decided that, hang on, this way we get a lot of cheap candidates, or this way we get a lot of different type of talent. And they're taking advantage of the fact that you're a two-person business, you know, based in the Midlands, and you're probably not going to challenge back, and you don't have deep enough pockets to go through a legal case. But I was like, but do you know what this does do for you both? It proves my point of you need to move to a retained model, right? You need to, because there is only two of you, and you guys are really good at what you do, and you can't keep working for free. So then you use this as an example, and when you do pitch your next bit of retained work, you know. I had Rob Kenwood on once, and he said, he was like, you know, I do everything retained, but one thing I do differently is I say to my clients, I'll pay you the first half of the first third of the retainer back if you don't like my shortlist. So what have you got to lose?
Yeah.
And I was like, use that. That's really powerful, right? And then get more comfortable in asking for that business up front, because again, we get so caught up in like, I want, you know, a shit number of like activity and volume brings me a shit number of vacancies, which means I've got, you know, a load of work on the board, and and we've almost trained ourselves to believe like, if I've got 100 grand pipeline and 60 of it lands, that's good. And it's like, no, it ain't, because that other 40 could probably still land, but you're not looking at it. It's like that, you know, the sort of the cartoons where the bank robber's running out and all this money's falling out of his bag, and he's like, but I've got this money. But it's like, some of us sit there and be like, I'd be running back and getting that. I wouldn't even let a note fall out of my bag, you know. And these guys are letting thousands like fly out. It's that same mentality, isn't it? It's sort of like, if you're bothered by this, actually, this is a solution. I like the fact that you're a SaaS product as well, in that it's the people are paying for not just the fact that you're identifying missed revenue, but actually a way to kind of improve the process within that team and within that business to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because that's the key, isn't it?
Some clients are really intrigued and interested to learn about, we've just released a revenue protection guide. I think the link might be below. You can just download that. It's free. Just register and download it. But they're really interested about what others are happening to others. Like the example about 2 month representation on that one job. Or they don't attach fees. I think one CRM, every time you send out a CV, is pre-attached. You could set these things up technically, right? It's really not that hard. So some clients don't want to listen. They want the money, and we've got no return on investment, and this doesn't work. It's like, well, I've flagged up to you 8. You've chosen to not go after it. It's not my fault. I'm not a lawyer. We're not debt recovery agency. It's your choice.
The problem isn't that you didn't get your $8,000 feedback out of the missed revenue that you identified. The problem is that you had $8,000 worth of revenue that you've missed out on because of your processes. They're big difference, right? You're not. Your job's not to get them that $8,000. Your job's to show them that you're dropping money, unnecessarily dropping. Like, you're wasting revenue that you should be making by not changing 2-3 things in your business.
One really early adopter, actually a friend in the village where I live, and she's ops director of an agency firm. She does a learning Thursday. So everyone's back in the office now, probably Tuesdays, Thursdays. 8:30 or 9 o'clock, whatever, half an hour. Either it's going to be system adoption or recruitment training, or we found a Bob, this is what happened, but this is why. Try not to let it happen for you. We had one at that firm. We found a Bob. My contacts investigated it. It was a 12 grand fee. So they went through the mail, they did the discussions, and it ended up being a 6 grand fee. They give the commission to the recruiter. Some agencies don't. They just keep it because they don't have to pay out, whatever. So, but that lady, the recruiter, was, I think, about 4 or 5 grand off target, which meant if she got this 6 grand, which it did, she hit target, she got to go on the sales trip to Cancun, and then she got promoted. So there is power in it if you want to follow through with it. same company said that we found in America it's like $25,000 fee, but their clients' lawyers were bigger than their lawyers. So then you're going to spend those money on legal fees for the sake of what
you burn that down.
Yeah, and you're going to lose a client. You literally end up with maybe $1,000 because the lawyers are only ones who win in this case, right? But it's the flagging opportunity to think, are we having repeat offenders?
Yeah.
One customer, they ran their whole previous data set for the last 2 years, and most of the missed fees were with one recruiter, just firing out CVs, not really following up, not really doing anything.
And that recruiter in their mind is probably like, I'm working my arse off.
Yep.
I'm working my arse off. I'm sending out hundreds of CVs a week, but nothing's coming back. Yeah. And it's like, you're leaving yourself wide open.
Yeah. To me, it's more powerful than I ever believed or thought it would be for the learning and training piece. The money, like we said, it's great, and it has brought in quite a bit of revenue for our customers, but we don't track that.
But it just needs to wash its face.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, I'd be sitting there thinking, well, hang on a minute. If you identify, and I don't know how much your product costs and stuff, but if it costs X and you identify a list of fees, and I'm like, well, actually, of all of these, I could probably get these 2, and that would cover the cost of X. It's washed its face, because what it has also done is give me a list of other things, other data, repeat offenders, in not only in my team or my business, but clients. Wising me up to terms of business, giving me a negotiation tool to go back to with clients who I may have already agreed poor terms with, and say, well, hang on a minute. We signed these terms a year ago. In that time, we've done this, and actually, we've identified that you've done this. So we need to go back to the negotiation table. This is not going to happen again.
I always thought this would sit in sales. So the sales directors hear about it. This is great. We need Bob on. The MD's looking at it from okay, well, this is going to protect our business future.
Yeah.
I always end up with demoing it to ops.
Yeah.
Ops, I can see how this sits in tech stack. I might have to assign someone to look after it. It's really minimal, maybe half hour a month at best. But then when the finance director gets my invoice or has sign off, they will go, well, what's our return on investment? So I go, but what's your return on investment on your business insurance that you pay out, that you have to have, Hiscox, whatever it might be. This sits in that same finance line on Xero or whatever you use.
In terms of outgoing,
and we will probably make you money. Where like the podcast studio building's got insurance, you've got insurance. It doesn't make you money. It's only there if it happens. Where this is a proactive element on a number of cases. No,
I like it. So what kind of reservations do you get then? So when you are pitching this, because I mean, for me, it seems like a no-brainer. But what kind of reservations are you getting then from business owners?
I get that word no-brainer on the demo every time.
Yeah.
This is a no-brainer. Plug it in. It's not expensive at all. So the cost part is kind of negligible. What is my return on investment? I was like, well, we've had 2 or 3 clients roll off because they've not found anything.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good.
Sleep at night. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Great. In all honesty, they were probably too small to really have the volume out, the attrition, and the missed fees. But they were good early adopters. They were great. What's my return on investment? Am I going to get 10x? Don't know. You tell me. How loose is your business? How
bad are you as a business in terms of following process? Yeah.
You're requesting the demo. I might reach out to you, brand awareness, but you've come to me. What is your process at the moment? Have you got a person doing it? But the other one, and I've got 2 huge brand names. I'm obviously not going to say the name. We got to.
We'll flash them at the bottom.
They don't believe in their data. So they know they've both got the same CRM, ATS, whatever you want to call it. And they know it's a booking system, which means the recruiter sent out a CV at 12 o'clock on Friday. It just so happens at 12:05, there's a placement. Yeah, well done. So they're not using it effectively. So they don't have good data. They want the revenue protection. They're big businesses. They lose 100 to 200 people a year. They can't plug in Bob because they know the data's not accurate. So there's an internal program of, well, we don't want you if it's not going to be successful for us, and then who's my internal sponsor? So there's a couple of things that I've learned through going to all the events that you get invited to, and the biggest one that we're looking forward to, we're year 3 trading, who is my internal sponsor that's going to look after this? Don't just adopt the piece of tech because you think it's great, like video interviewing, all the stuff that no one uses, but who's going to log on every month, check Bob, check your suspected people that might be there, that maybe it's spelled differently, or it's Accenture Interactive versus Accenture Germany, well, that'd be a suspected and whatever. Who's gonna run it? And if you don't have a solid enough person, I'm probably not going to implement Bob.
Can individual recruiters not be like, I want to run this from my desk?
The API will connect up to the business. So it's you can log on and you can upload CSV, just standalone if you want. But an individual recruiter, the minimum connection fee will be too big anyway for him. But there's a.
But you know what I mean? Like, you'd want, really, ideally, what you would want is your team of recruiters to come to you as a business owner and be like, I've listened to this podcast, and we're talking about this. I think we would be falling victim to that. I commit to you to using the CRM properly from now on, rather than how I have been using it, provided you put this thing in, because actually, I suspect there's already this happening in our business, and do you know what? I want that extra, because look, it's no secret that recruiters are struggling at the moment. It's no secret that the last 18 months have been really difficult.
Yeah.
So you're almost like, kind of, when you talk about your why now on a, your sort of Sequoia Capital investment pitch deck, right? Why now? Well, because everyone's on their arse. Not everyone, that's unfair, but people are on their arse, and they really do need to figure out a way to kind of drive additional revenue rather than headcount cuts. And actually, this is a perfect solution for that, because you kind of like, we are losing money. We just don't know where.
Two reasons companies come to us. One, they're doing it manually, and it's slow, laborious, hard. Jane or Colin, who does it, is on holiday and they miss something or whatever. So we worked out that a human, if all they do is check these social networking sites all day long, you could do about 350 a day, like 1 minute per day. We do about 10,000 in 6 minutes. Right? Every month we do that. The other one is, they're actually like the example earlier, 500 to 350. They're going through some change. So yes, we will charge, and they might find 100, 200 grand, but that's up to them what they do. And that's great. I hope they get that money. And so it's horrible to think that businesses are really struggling, because they are. It's an awkward market. But then, what are you doing to protect your revenue?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? Look, complacency kicks in when things are going well, right? And we as a business and an industry were guilty of that, right? My recruitment business was guilty of that. We had an awesome 2021, back end of 21, and a great 2022. And every time we would sit down and things are looking great. The job board's full of jobs, and the candidate board's full of candidates, and the placements are coming in, and even the ones that we didn't think were going to actually perform this year are performing. And then all of a sudden, you're like, hang on, jobs are drying up. Oh, hang on a minute, they forgot how to BD. Oh, hang on a minute, they're really struggling. And we didn't stop to look at it and go, hang on, our guys are literally just service taking and order taking at the minute. They are not upskilling themselves. They're not building relationships. They're not doing the fundamentals that they should be doing. And if these taps turn off, which evidently they did, we're in trouble, which evidently we ended up in. Do you know what I mean? And so, our industry is very prone to just taking it kind of like, oh, things go well, I don't need to, and you're kind of like, but I could take you from here to here.
Most companies who we demo and discuss implementing Bob, my first question is, what do you do at the moment to protect your revenue? And nearly all of them say nothing. Because it's hard. It's hard to stop what you're doing, or getting pizzas after work, go through your...
But we work contingently. So we have to constantly look forward. You can't, as a recruitment business owner, if you've got, if everybody else in the team is blasting the phones, firing out CVs and all that sort of stuff, and you've got this one person that's sort of like, what are you doing today? Well, I'm going back to like last May, and I'm having a look at everyone that I sent out this time last week, and I'm just checking LinkedIn to see. I'll be like, shut the fuck up! No, you're not doing that. Get on the phones.
Yeah.
Do Johnny, do something productive, because it's not ingrained in us to do that, right? And so there are probably business owners out there that are stopping their staff from doing this. You know, we had one person when we used to work at Michael Page. We had one person who used to do something similar. But her only motive for doing it was because she would be able to get split fees on fees that were already made. So, you know, we were in the private sector recruitment arm, and they had a public sector desk. And the girls in the public sector would basically go through every single candidate where a placement had been made that month by everybody on kind of industry and commerce, and see if they'd worked in public sector, because if they had, they were entitled to 25% fees split. Yeah. And every single month, without fail, they would get another 15, 20 grand put onto their books for the year, for the month, without fail. And you'd go, bloody hell, like,
it's a well-known problem.
Yeah.
And if you've got
we're doing it to ourselves.
If you've got 20 recruiters, you're not going to choose to employ one more just to chuck up on the 20. It just doesn't make financial sense. But we had one customer that signed up, and he went, "I'll just come in and meet some of the team and just tell me what you're doing." What they got me to do is literally stand on a chair. They got Bob on the big screen and said, "We are actively tracking your candidates. Use the system. If we find it, you're not going to get bollocked, and you're going to get the commission. Use the system." Most customers don't tell the recruiters that they're using Bob internally. So they don't know. Yeah. And all of a sudden, how do you find this out? Oh, you know, how do you... So either way, you know, one customer, just through CSV upload, one-off, they're not on the monthly, they found a good 150 grand that was genuinely paid out, and they give no commission to the recruiters. So they're 40% up. It's evil. So every business does something different. Is it evil?
One could argue, maybe not. Equally, yeah.
I'm not calling it evil. I'm saying it's a bit mean that the recruiter doesn't get the fee. Yeah. But it's every.
I would have probably come to some sort of I don't know. Yeah. I'm really torn on that, because you mentioned that a couple of times. I'm really torn on it. Like, as a business owner, would I give the commission to? Because is it their fault or is it my fault? Do you know what I mean? Who does the responsibility ultimately lie with? If my processes are that bad that my consultants are, giving candidates away for free, that's my fault.
Is it an auto reminder on the last Friday of every month for 2 hours that you buy pizzas in, you download their activity off Bullhorn, Job Ad, or whatever it is? They're right. Bob's pretty much what used to happen to us. Mm-hmm. It's more of a powerful revenue protection tool than I actually believed it would be.
Yeah, no. I really, it's amazing how many tools are out there now. That I sit on this side, having closed my agency down 6 months ago, and thinking, if only I knew about that back then. Geez, I wonder what would have happened. Do you know what I mean? So no, okay, fair. Well, look, here's your chance to plug Bob even further. How do people get in touch? How do people, have you got a trial, a sign up, anything that you want to kind of direct people to? Now's your chance. So there's your camera, it's all yours.
Yeah, go to bobcheck.io. There's register interest, and that'll get a demo with me. We've got APIs on Bullhorn, Job Adder, and this is filming in May 24. So June 24, we're going live with Vincherry. When you sign up for the API, we'll go back to January 22, and you can load up all your old CSV data, and we'll find more than one Bob on the first day.
That's a guarantee.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
No, brilliant, mate. This has been really fun. Thank you. I appreciate you taking time.
That's one.
There you go. Guys, thank you very much for listening, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and more importantly, actually, if you are still listening, don't forget to tell people about Bob. Like, Bobcheck is a massively valuable tool for recruitment agencies and recruitment business owners. Don't just sit on it. Let people know about it. But yeah, no, thank you, David. This is been. Cheers.